Welcome to The Explainer. I'm absolutely thrilled you're joining us today. We're on a bit of a mission right now to decode the hidden mechanics of the digital economy. We're going to look way past those slick, shiny interfaces of the apps we use literally every single day and uncover exactly how these digital giants architect their massive success. So, let's just dive right into it.
I want you to do something for a quick second. Look at your smartphone. Seriously, whether it's right there in your hand or just resting on your desk, that little device connects you to this massive, completely invisible web. Actually, it's one of over 6 billion active smartphone devices globally. Over 6 billion. That means roughly 84% of the entire world's population is digitally connected right this second. It's kind of mind-blowing when you really think about it.
Which, of course, brings us to the core mystery of the modern digital world. How do the apps on all these devices actually make their money? I mean, we download them for free, we use them every single day, and we rarely even think twice about it. But I really want to challenge you to think beyond the whole concept of a simple free app. Because the reality behind that free download is way more complex, and frankly, it is absolutely fascinating.
Here's the roadmap for our explainer today. We'll start with living in a digital world, then compare Netflix versus Spotify. After that, we'll unpack the iron triangle, look at driving digital value, and finally, wrap up with the next disruption. All right, let's get into it.
Part 1. Living in a digital world.
To really grasp the sheer ubiquity of this digital transformation, just think about our screen time. In the Western world, we spend on average anywhere from 1.5 to 7 hours every single day just staring at our screens. We're constantly connected, right? And what this means for businesses is absolutely monumental. Back in the day, a consumer's journey had these distinct, drawn-out steps. You felt a need, you went out and researched it, you bought it, and then finally you experienced it. But today, because we're basically glued to our phones, those steps have completely merged. It creates what researchers actually call a single, ubiquitous digital moment of truth. Everything happens all at once.
And this insight really hits the nail on the head as to why that merging happens. As our source material puts it, mobile phones have become way more than just another digital device. They're now used as a literal extension of ourselves. The most successful companies of our time, we're talking Facebook, Google, Apple, they aren't just selling products anymore. They're trading on ubiquity. They capitalize on this omnipresent awareness of you, the customer, at every single point in your day.
Okay, moving on to part 2. Netflix versus Spotify.
Let's do a concrete head-to-head comparison here, because I want to challenge some assumptions we might have about how these supposedly similar entertainment apps actually operate. We hear Spotify called the Netflix of music all the time, but honestly, their value architectures are totally distinct from one another. Spotify is really a matchmaking platform at its core. They aren't buying music up front, they're just connecting listeners to artists and then paying out roughly 70% of their revenue directly to the music industry based on individual streams. Netflix? They operate way more like a heavy-hitting producer and curator. They definitely don't pay external creators per view on their original shows. Instead, they hold these massive fixed costs for original content. Think big shows like Stranger Things or The Witcher. And then they capture all the value directly from their subscribers. Notice that specific phrase right there, cancel anytime. For Netflix, this was a massive, game-changing shift in customer centricity. Seriously, think back to the days of Blockbuster and those brutal late fees that just made you feel terrible. Or remember the absolute nightmare of trying to cancel a traditional pay TV subscription. Navigating those endless phone calls and retention departments was the worst. Well, Netflix completely removed that pain point. Cancel anytime was basically their subtle, super confident way of saying, hey, our service is so incredibly good, you simply aren't going to want to leave. All right, let's shift to part 3, the iron triangle. So how exactly do we analyze all these different approaches systematically? Well, it's time to introduce our decoder ring. Just like project management has its famous time, cost, and quality balance, digital leaders have to balance 3 core pillars in what we call the digital business model iron triangle. It's like a giant puzzle. You have to find your unique balance, manage these 3 variables to achieve the perfect trade-off, and then actively work to keep the whole thing balanced as your business grows and inevitably faces new challenges. Let's decode those 3 pillars real quick. First up, who is creating value? Digital technology allows these massive networks of participants, think Spotify's listeners, the artists, and the advertisers, to all create value together. Second, what shape does this value take? Like, does it reshape the market as a platform, a marketplace, or maybe a social network? And third, how is sustainability achieved? Because even heavily subsidized or free services need a solid mechanism to capture value over time, right?
whether that's through subscription fees, trading data, or super smart advertising algorithms.
Moving right along to part 4, driving digital value.
So, with the Iron Triangle framework established, let's look at the specific engine that actually powers the whole shebang. Researchers Amit and Zot identified 4 critical value drivers that e-businesses use to engineer their competitive advantage. We've got efficiency, complementarity, lock-in, and novelty. Just think about Google for a second. They provided this incredible efficiency with that clean, super simple search bar. Then the novelty of their PageRank algorithm delivered way better results than literally anything else at the time. Plus, they created amazing complementarity across products like Gmail and Maps. But the most important part? They engineered cognitive lock-in. By becoming the default browser choice on so many devices, using Google just became this automatic, goal-activated habit for billions of people.
Now, it's really important to realize that these drivers definitely don't operate in isolation. They form this tight, interconnected web. Digital businesses use this web to systematically remove friction from every single interaction you have with them. The ultimate goal? Ensuring that once you enter their ecosystem, you stay securely inside that ecosystem.
And this brings us to a really crucial realization from the source material. It says, the mobile device is the ultimate overlapping device between the outside world and the consumer's brains. I mean, just let that sink in for a second. Every single tap, swipe, search, and even when you just pause on a video, it's all a digital footprint. In this ecosystem, behavioral data isn't just important, it is the absolute ultimate currency.
So here's how these digital platforms leverage that currency to totally eliminate those old-school linear value chains. Step 1, they collect your behavioral data. Step 2, they analyze those digital footprints to figure out your exact preferences and literally predict your next move. And step 3, honestly, this is the true genius part. They transform us, the consumers, into producers. Think about it. When you leave an online review, or refer a friend, or share something you bought on your social network, you're no longer just a buyer sitting at the end of a retail chain. You've become a vital content supplier, actively generating value for the platform, and doing it at absolutely zero extra cost to them.
Which brings us to our final section, the next disruption.
We know how they operate today, right? So let's scan the horizon to see the future evolution of these digital ecosystems. Today, the landscape is pretty much dominated by Gamma. That's Google, Apple, Meta, Amazon, and Microsoft. These guys are deeply entrenched infrastructure providers. If they see a threat popping up, they usually have the capital to just go ahead and buy it out, exactly like Meta did with Instagram and WhatsApp. But they are facing some intense pressure from the hyper-growth challengers known as NATO. That's Netflix, Airbnb, Tesla, and Uber. These challenger companies aren't just updating software, they're actually redefining our social norms. Just think about it for a second. Platforms like Airbnb and Uber have literally engineered digital trust. They've made us feel completely secure paying to sleep in a stranger's house or getting into a total stranger's car. It's wild.
But looking even further ahead to the future horizon, we really have to broaden our geographic and technological scope. The next massive disruptions? They're brewing way beyond the borders of Silicon Valley. We're seeing immense, explosive growth from Asian giants like Alibaba, Tencent, and Xiaomi. We're watching traditional sectors get totally transformed by artificial intelligence and robotic process automation. And of course, we're seeing the rise of massive global edtech platforms, like India's Byju's, scaling up incredibly fast.
All of this leaves us with one final, pretty provocative question. We know Gamma controls the infrastructure today. They hold the servers, the app stores, the login credentials, but as tech accelerates even faster and as these new global challengers rise up, who is going to disrupt the disruptors tomorrow? It's definitely something to think about. So keep your eyes open, take a much closer look at the apps on your phone, and make sure you use your new decoder ring to analyze the digital world around you. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the mechanics of our connected lives.